People will be zooming in as we speak, so I just thought we'd get started. Thank you for joining us for our Salute to Service event. I'm Lauren Kuby with the Global Institute of Sustainability Innovation, and it's my honor to introduce our moderator, ASU's Ryan Klenner. So Ryan has served 4 years from 1997 to 2001 in the U.S. Marine Corps as an aviation ordnance systems technician on Cobra and Huey helicopters. He's worked in the commercial and residential building trades with over 20 years of experience, serving in many roles ranging from field technician to office management and business development. As a lifelong learner, he returned to school at ASU and in 2019 earned his degree in sustainability with an emphasis on sustainable urban dynamics. In his current role of business development for ASU's LightWorks, Ryan connects innovation and research within ASU to opportunities that foster continued research, fund pilot programs, or lead to commercialization. He and the LightWorks team cultivate dynamic relationships, and they leverage their research assets across the university ecosystem. They develop competitive transdisciplinary teams focused on future energy systems with economy-wide decarbonization models. Ryan, thanks so much for moderating our esteemed panel of service members today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hello to everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. ASU LightWorks is extremely proud to participate in another ASU celebration of Salute to Service, honoring our military veteran community. Thank you for that excellent introduction, Lauren. As Lauren indicated, my name is Ryan Klenner. I'm the business development manager with ASU LightWorks and a prior service Marine. In the spirit of Salute to Service, I'd like to give a quick shout out to somebody very near and dear to me who is currently serving overseas. It's my son, Blake. He's a corporal in the United States Marine Corps as a F-35 mechanic. He's a power line mechanic. And he's currently aboard the HMS Queen Elizabeth. His unit and himself are all due back early December, so looking forward to that. Our conversation today is pretty exciting. As we've been building to it and working with the panelists and whatnot, getting to know each other, it's just getting more and more motivated for today's topic of discussion. In what our focus is to kind of peek behind that curtain of innovation and creativity that is so prevalent here at ASU, to explore how veteran skill sets uniquely influence the culture of innovation. So to start, we kind of want to understand what is innovation. We hear about innovation so much here at ASU. It's one of our distinct strong points, as we most of us well know, especially receiving our 7th consecutive most innovative university in the nation. And this validation is incredible. It's amazing, it's unique to ASU, but what is it? What is the innovation? What is innovation, and how do we participate in this and act and contribute? So we could simplify innovation with Webster's dictionary definition. I can't talk. And they define innovation to be any new idea, device, or method, or the process of introducing a new idea, device, or method. As Lauren identified earlier, in my role within LightWorks, we work to advance research and innovation in and around that renewable energy and decarbonization space. And so you might imagine that there's quite a bit of innovation that takes place in this sector. There's a lot of activity in the renewable energy space and similar with decarbonization. And because of this activity, I've been real fortunate to encounter innovation from a variety of perspectives. This unique experience has enabled the opportunity to observe interesting trends in how we ultimately get to that end product, that innovation, whatever that solution is that we're focused on. So that's the focus of today's conversation. We want to expand beyond just my focal point within LightWorks of energy and decarbonization. And we're going to branch out to the broader ecosystem of innovation and learn about veterans here at ASU who are actively honing and implementing their unique constellation of skills to then align that with their internal passions that then drive innovation that leads to important changes needed in the world. So with that, I would like to hand it over to our panelists to kind of give us a little sense about them, a brief little background on their military journey, their ASU story, and then their connection to this culture of innovation. So our first panelist I would like to hand it over to would be Dawn. Dawn, if you wouldn't mind, turn your camera on and introducing yourself.
Thank you, Ryan, for that introduction. My name is Dawn. I am an ASU junior, and I am a U.S. Navy veteran. I served for just under 8 years on board the USS Fletcher, working with the Mark 86 weapon system and the 2 radars that were part of that system. After getting out of the military, I took a break as I was given the amazing opportunity to get custody of my niece and nephew and raise them. And so now they're a little older, and working through our journey as a family and learning to overcome hurdles and work together and move forward in our lives, it really pushed me to get back into school and find what I'm passionate about so that I can lead by example. I'm currently now at ASU working on my bachelor's in nonprofit leadership. I plan to add 1 more year for the master's program for nonprofit leadership. So I really want to take that as far as it can allow me. And for me, innovation can be found everywhere. It's really where your heart is, what your path is. And my path for innovation is serving the community. It's where I feel I can make a huge impact on so many lives, including my own. I've found through my own life experiences and listening to others by being an active volunteer in different veteran organizations that there are gaps in the support systems for military veterans. And ASU is giving me the space and really the support and I definitely think the support system to really learn to acknowledge and remind myself that I have those skills that were learned in the military all the way from boot camp. Skills like adapting and flexibility, problem solving, teamwork, dedication, even organization, to allow me to organize my crazy life with kids in school. And I'm now able to apply those skills and really focus on my passion of service, which is the veteran community. And I'm focusing and zeroing in on the single parents in the veteran community, making sure that they're supported, that their kids are supported, and that together as one unit, they can really begin that journey of healing and growth. And that's where I find my innovation at.
That was excellent. Thank you, Dawn. And the culmination of that on how the skill sets were there, and then you were able to connect yourself to additional support teams to kind of flesh those out, and then turn all of that energy into what is the catalyst for creating additional support systems. That's incredible. Thank you. Let's hear from Kegan. Kegan, if you wouldn't mind, turn your camera on and introduce yourself and unmute yourself. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Kegan Sherman. I served 5 years in the United States Marine Corps, also as an aviation mechanic. Kind of side note, but Ryan's son, Blake, is actually in my old shop. He's doing the exact same job that I did in the Marine Corps. So this is kind of a cool small world link. We're both power line mechanics. Power line refers to like the engine, not the power lines. So really cool job, really cool experience. Glad to be linked up with someone that's still doing it today. So it's cool to keep up with it. Anyway, so I served from 2014 to 2019. In that time, I had tremendous amounts of opportunities to take on new skills, new responsibilities, and just new leadership positions. I enjoyed every minute of it and definitely learned a lot about myself, about what I'm capable of, and then just in general, what I can use these skill sets for and adapt them to do other things. As I neared the end of my time in the Marine Corps, I had a big choice to make, as every veteran, every active duty member, every reservist, every service member has had to make. Do I re-enlist? Do I get out? I served 5 years, and it was a tough choice. I had the support of my wife to help me through this, and getting out was a big leap. I decided to get out and finish my education. So I made my way here. I'm back at ASU. Well, not back, I'm here at ASU. And I'm finishing my education. I'm taking the skills and the motivation that I got out of the Marine Corps, and I'm applying it to my own personal growth. The Marine Corps was great, but it's a means to an end. And that's one thing that's difficult to accept. But we have skill sets that we learned in the military across the board that you can still use. And that's, I think, what we're trying to focus on today. And I think it's easy to forget that you have those skills. So really excited to talk about kind of what we're doing with them now. So I'm currently studying education. I'm with the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College. I'm a senior. I graduate this December. Very excited. My wife and I both graduate. We're both studying secondary education to become high school teachers. So we're both in our student teaching this semester, and it's been a great experience. It's been a relieving experience, because one thing you hear going into this program or going into education is that you may not really know if you like it until you get there, until you're with the kids. And coming from the Marine Corps to teaching kids, I'm not gonna lie, a little uneasy if my mentality would be able to shift correctly. And I'll assure you it has. I'm doing okay. I'm not yelling at kids. But it's great, and I'm loving working with the kids. I love just seeing the personal growth. It's not about the content. I mean, it is, but it's not. There's so much more that you can do for these children that is not about science or trigonometry. And part of that is tying into what I'm trying to do now. It's a little strange timing because I'm doing my student teaching, but I've found a connection with my students that doesn't necessarily touch with the content, but it touches with their motivation, their drive, their own personal ambitions, and their willingness to take on new skills. Skateboarding. I know this is a crazy off the wall kind of topic, but I love skateboarding. I didn't do it while I was in the Marine Corps because I didn't want to get hurt. I've taken it on since I've gotten out, and I've realized what a positive influence skateboarding has on my life. I have many aspects, many interests, many hobbies. I'm sure everyone here does. But skateboarding is something that has showed myself that I'm capable of more. Mental blocks, just the personal desire to do more, to drive and to continue that ambition is present across the board with education, with learning, with skateboarding. And I have a lot of students that skateboard, and this has been actually a direct connection and a way to influence my students to try harder with their schoolwork. As a silly example, but I have a student that he told me he finally learned to do a kickflip. And I was like, how many times did you try? You know, he said probably hundreds of times. I was like, all right, how many times did you try to answer this question on your homework? And, you know, that clicked with him. And it's a point I'm trying to make. So I'm trying to start a skateboarding organization within my school that links their academics with a passion for a separate art form. And the theme I'm trying to get based around is to get up. What happens when you fall on a skateboard? You get up. And the same thing can be said within your education. If you're struggling with this class, if you're struggling with this assignment, you can get up. We can do better. You may just need a hand. Sometimes you take a hard slam on a ramp and you need a hand. And I want to be that hand to help them get up academically and in their other passions. So I'll get more on it later, but I'm super excited to kind of be doing this and to be sharing it with you guys here today.
That's excellent. Thank you, Kagan. And yeah, what an interesting connection, the link of academics with skateboarding. And it's really actually fascinating because yeah, we're not just singular beings operating on a straight line, and this is what we need to be educated with. There's many senses and many things that come into our knowledge capture systems. So it's impressive to hear your take on it. So now let's hear from Stephen. Stephen, if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and bringing your camera on, and love to hear about you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Stephen Latino. I'm a Director of Research Compliance at ASU Research Enterprise, which is actually ASU's applied laboratory that focuses on DoD research. Before that, I spent 12 years in the United States Army as an audiovisual equipment operator maintainer. I got to deploy all over the world and do lots of fun things. And then came out of the military. My body kind of gave out on me. So while I wasn't able to serve my nation and serve my fellow soldiers in the military anymore, I figured the best way I could help them is through policy. I came to ASU and I got my undergraduate in public service, public policy. I got graduate in public policy because I figured I wanted to make change through policy. And then, you know, through all of this adventure in college, trying to figure out who I am and what I'm doing, I still wanted to serve my community. I got out there, served my community, and I found horses. So this might be a strange little jump, but the horses really helped me better myself and work on myself. And I found that with the techniques and skills that I've learned from the military, how to be generalist and adaptable, how to be focused and driven mission forward and all of that, that it really helped me with the way I engage with horses. And then the horses came back and helped me engage better at work. So here, even at my lab, I got to, again, my degree's in policy, I got to be an engineer working on programs that built drones that help save black-footed ferrets, an endangered species in northern Arizona, by providing aerial delivery of vaccinations for the Sylvanic plague, work on hydrogen drones that the LightWorks team has here. And so again, I'm not an engineer, so I couldn't design it, but I was a technician in the military, and I have this great capacity to be able to support and accomplish the mission. And a lot of that was driven through, you know, combining my military service, my education, and my passion together. So thank you for having me. Absolutely.
That's incredible. And Stephen, I just want you to kind of pull on that horse thread a little bit more. And this blows my mind to all the audience people. Like, if you don't know Stephen, get to know Stephen. He's an interesting person, but you're doing some amazing stuff there. You're not only helping, you're not only engaging veterans, first responders in this process, but you're actually helping animals too.
Right. So my idea, my focus right now is I've built a nonprofit, and I've started by not even knowing how to do a nonprofit. And I'm working through this nonprofit process to not only rescue and help horses, save them from slaughter at auction, but bring them home and rehab them. And I'm going to rehab them using veterans or first responders. My idea being that I have horses with anxiety or severe trauma problems, and I have veterans with severe anxiety and trauma problems. What if I taught the veterans how to work with the horse? And in the process, you kind of got to fix yourself. Horses are great mirrors to your soul. So you have to think about how you're going to address your anxiety in order to help address that horse's anxiety. So it's not a, hey, you need to do this to fix yourself. It's, hey, if you did this to fix the horse, and they can come to that subtle realization, oh, if I did this myself, if I took my time and breathe and sit down and relax, maybe I can help this. And so it really helped me. It was a passion that drove me just to solve problems within myself. And now I wish to share it out with my community.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, since we've got you on the hot spot here, we've got a question. We'll start with you, Stephen. So how, you know, we've learned about each of you individuals, but are all three of you just unicorns? You know, like, are you special people that possess some skills that others don't have? And what makes veterans uniquely equipped to deal with some of these dynamic and complex challenges that you're all getting after?
And right, so we're unicorns because we're such a small percentage of the population in America, not necessarily because we, the three of us, are unicorns. The veteran population is the unicorn, and it's because we're taught to be generalists, right? We're taught to be able to operate one rank up, two ranks down, to be able to operate to the left and the right within our specialty, to steal from the Marine Corps, right? Everyone's a rifleman first, and then they have a technical specialty. This ideation, this thought process drives us to come at problems a little bit differently. We don't think straight through this technical solution. We think, okay, what is the total problem in its entirety, and how do we solve this entire problem? Because maybe the technical solution comes after we do some policy negotiation, or we get some people trained, or we go have fun and do this thing over here, and we come back and go, oh, look, here's a solution. So this generalization that the military trains us to do really drives us to be able to succeed and to be able to come up with interesting and innovative solutions to totally complex problems, because simple problems require simple technical solutions, and that specialization really succeeds there. When you have complex problems that involve humans, that involve ecosystems, that involve, you know, multiple continents and multiple cultures, you need a really dynamic and somebody who's a generalist who can understand across that entire umbrella.
That's an excellent answer. Thank you, Stephen. So I'm going to same question to the other panelists, and we'll go Kegan, just in reverse order of what we had here. So same question to you. How are veterans uniquely equipped to handle dynamic complex problems?
I think Stephen really hits it on the head with using the term a generalist. The way I kind of interpret that or translate it is being adaptable, and I think that's a term that came up already as well. And a lot of these are military lingo, I think, that are just ingrained in us, and it's just hard not to use them in a sense, even when you've been out for years. So again, I think it's adaptability in a sense, to really sum it up. A lot of us join at very young ages. 17, 18 years old is the normal age to be joining the military. And at that point, most don't have a large professional skill set in some sense. You're given it. You get to some people sign an open contract, which means you're going in and taking on whatever job you're given. Or you just take on a job that you think you want, but you have no idea what you're doing. I was definitely not a mechanic of any sort. I couldn't even change the oil on my truck before I joined the Marine Corps. And then I was pulling engines out of jets. So it's interesting. You get put into areas of responsibility that you may not have been ever introduced to before. You get comfortable being uncomfortable. And you work under a lot of pressure, like a lot of pressure from the job itself, from your supervision, from the culture of the military. You work fast, you work efficiently, you get it done, and you don't ask questions about why you should. Well, okay, you do within reason, but you don't say no, you do it. You do what needs to get done, and you maintain composure. You take the initiative and you make those decisions. And that's something that's just driven in from day one of boot camp. You get there, you literally are stripped of every single belonging you have, every bit of civilian attire you're wearing, and you're put into a team. You're all wearing the same color, you're all doing the same thing. And you learn to work with that team, make those decisions, and get things done. You're put in leadership positions constantly. Like Stephen said, 2 ranks up, 1 rank down. You need to know everything about what you're doing and everything around it. 1 minute I'm pulling the engine out of a jet, and the next I'm scrubbing the floor in the head, and which the head is the bathroom. Sorry.
Thank you for
Once
that
I'm talking to veterans, the veteran lingo just starts coming out. Anyways, but it's no job is too good, or you're not too good for any job. You just know what needs to get done. Around the house, I see a mess, take care of it. It's not something I think about. One thing you'll probably notice is that in your classes, often the people that are sitting in the very front of the class, the ones that are always raising their hands and taking notes and paying attention, are the veterans. Sometimes that's because we really need to be up there. But you know, we know that we need to be up there, and we do what needs to be done. And I think that's a mindset that just continues and continues outside of the military. It's a structure that works. You know, we've been doing it for a long time, and often those jobs that we're doing, you know, they're around the safety of others. Other people's lives are literally in your hands, and that pressure and that responsibility really just makes you comfortable with just knowing what you need to do, making those decisions and getting it done. And now being out of the military, sometimes I don't think about the fact that I react that way to situations, but it's still there, it's still ingrained. And it's definitely a good skill set to hang on to. So
adaptability is what you were kind of focusing on that one, that as far as the skill set. And yeah, couldn't agree more. Adapt and overcome is a common phrase in the Marine Corps. I think in the civilian world, we call that pivot. But yeah. So Don, to you, last and definitely not least, what are your thoughts on that? How are our veterans uniquely equipped to solve some of these dynamic challenges?
I think in the past couple of weeks, just talking with the other panelists and with you, Ryan, I find that it just reminded me even more of how much I appreciated the teamwork and the organization skills that I learned while in the service. I feel like veterans have the ability to see things through a different lens. And even though we're all looking at it from a different perspective, we all have that same common goal that we're trying to achieve to get the mission complete. And so when you're looking at an idea that, or trying to find a solution to a problem that exists in the world, or even within your own life, like remembering that there's a team of people around you that are also ready to step in and help you, and then putting all of those ideas together and not say no to any idea, like being ready to try everything, because sometimes, you know, when you're in the middle of the ocean and a radar goes down and you don't have the part on board, like you need to get pretty creative as to what you can get to use to fix that. You know, it needs to be working. And so remembering that your team is there to support you, no one's going to leave you behind. And then as we transition into civilian life, like how do you remember and remind yourself and keep that going so that you can hone in on those skills and continue making a difference in the world. Kagan, I love when he says, when I heard him say like veterans sit in the front of the classroom, like that's me to a T, you know, and I never looked at it as one of those skills that I learned in the military. Like I learned to be ready to go and be prepared and be ready to participate and take an active role in whatever we are learning in class. Like I don't want to sit on the back burner. I want to be in the forefront making a difference. And so that was just a great reminder, and another reminder of how much having a team means. You know, teams are fantastic. I love it.
Yes, I agree. There are times where teams can be a little challenging. I think all of us here have been through the university experience and have been on those teams that aren't so much of teams.
We do have those, but as Stephen always says, like the job is to like share our skills, veteran skill sets, and pass it on to those around us. And so once again, turning it around, like, yeah, this group project might be challenging and I might be the only one doing it, but instead of complaining about it, what the military has taught me and what Stephen likes to remind me is turn it around and like say, hey, what skills do I have that I can offer to my teammate or my group project member that can help them succeed in their college career and then future, you know, use the skills I know and teach it to others.
And that was actually an amazing response to my little smart alecky little comment, because yeah, you're absolutely right, because it shows that additional layer and dimension. So not only are you leveraging these skill sets that are embedded within yourself, but you're also sharing that knowledge and you're passing that on, kind of speaking to that mentor role that so many of us are familiar with, helping those around us grow. It's amazing. Thank you. All right, so we've got some questions coming in. We're gonna take the first question. It looks like this one is going to Kegan. Question to you, Kegan, is how did you decide on skateboarding to appeal to the students? what are similar other methods teachers can take to develop stronger connections to help them with their students? It's a good question.
Yeah, so that is a great question. And I think this kind of touches on what I was getting at a little earlier about it's not about the content 100%. You know, you're teaching the future of our country, and you need to take more interest in them personally than what they got on the test or what they know about rocks, you know. And how I stumbled upon this link personally, well, I skateboard a lot. That's actually how I met Ryan. And when I started my student teaching, I had actually just recently broke my collarbone skateboarding. So I'm not trying to deter anyone from skateboarding. I'm aggressive. But so I love skateboarding, so I'm doing it all the time. I showed up my first day of student teaching. My arm was in a big sling. My collarbone's poking up. Obviously, the students were a little curious what happened. I mentioned it was skateboarding, and immediately a few ears started perking up. What I would say about this link specifically, this is just my personal hobby, and it doesn't reach all of my students. I'm not going to say that all of my students are going to be changed by this, but some of them are. This is an extra link I now have that I can use to leverage their motivation to try harder in school. Maybe part of it is playing on the cool factor. I don't really try to do that, but like when the students see that you do something that they do, they have a new link with you. You're not just their teacher. You still maintain that relationship, but find your passion. You know, I have a passion for mentoring. I know we've been saying that a bit, but mentorship, and my other passion is skateboarding. I mean, I have a lot, but find what is a passion to you, and there's a way to link it to your students. Even if you just share it, you know, even if it's just you know, Stephen obviously works with horses. I'm sure he has plenty of students that love horses and love wildlife, love animals. If Stephen was a teacher, that is 100% something he could use to, you know, link with his students. How others can find that, I would say it starts within, you know, and we don't necessarily know what those passions are and what those links are going to be. You just kind of may stumble on it, but find that passion that you have, and there will be students that share it and they take interest in you. You know, they're always watching you, and they're affected by your choices. So you're always a role model. Don said it best, lead by example. So I wear my helmet when I skateboard. I'm doing my best to do all the things I'm supposed to be doing, but I show that I try hard at my job. I try hard to support them academically, but I also get out and I play, have fun. So I think that it kind of showed up organically, but you have your passions, and don't be afraid to share that with your students.
Thanks, Kagan. And it's actually kind of a nice segue into the next question. Basically, how you'd mentioned passions, Kagan, and this question's asking is, how do you align the skill sets that we were just kind of touching on with those passions? And then how do you mesh that up? And then how do you make that then drive what is going to be your innovation, or what will end up being innovation? We could start with you, Dawn, if you don't mind. Maybe, sorry, I'm
yeah, that's okay. So obviously my passion is serving the veteran community, and specifically focusing on a program that will allow single parents and their children to heal together. It's pretty common, and the availability is always there for veterans to find a new support system or to find new tools to put in their toolbox to help them deal with their traumas and life experiences. But it's challenging when you come home and you have children and they also want to learn, because they're part of your healing experience. And so my goal is to start a outdoor recreation trip. Ideally, I love river rafting. So take the parents and the children on a week of river rafting, and at the same time mix in outdoor activities along with programming in between those days on the river to give them skills to be able to communicate better, to lead better, to set expectations, and to be able to listen better, because that's something that really helped me throughout my process, adapting to having 2 children, going from a single person life to all of a sudden having 2 kids. So that's where my passion is. I think the skill sets is remembering the organizational skills and the communication skills I learned in the military, remembering that not every family is living or walking in the same shoes. And so just because one way might work for me, it might not work for somebody else. And so I really am learning to be open, learning the amount of dedication it's going to take to get this program up and running, but remembering the end goal, and that's to leave everybody with somebody to high five at the end of the week. You know, I go on many veteran programs and take 20 veterans down the river for a week, and you see the growth from the Monday we put in and then when we take out on Friday, and it's just astronomical, the amount of self growth that happens in each person. And if we could add in the family dynamics to that, I feel like it would make a difference in the world, and it would just continue on for generations to come. So I think that's how my skills in the military, my passion, and then ASU giving me the stage to learn that in the nonprofit sector, and then just move forward along with it.
Excellent. That's excellent. Thank you, Dawn. Stephen, let's hear from you on that. It's kind of this is an everybody question.
Yes. So, I always like to start this with, we had this warrior ethos. We had this ethos in the Army. I'm sure all the other services shared the same one, right? Always place the mission first. I'll never accept defeat. I'll never quit. And I'll never leave a fallen comrade. So I get out of the military and I have this ethos ingrained in me. And I'm going through and I'm fighting my way through college. I'm fighting my way into a career. I'm fighting my way through everything. How do I stop this fighting? And that's where my horses came from. The horses helped me kind of slow down and realize that, hey, I can sit here and take a minute and watch a horse eat hay and be happy. And well, I know I'm not the only one who struggled with this. If it's happening to me, it's got to be happening to more. So this is where that, don't leave a fallen comrade. And so I'm taking my skills that the military gave me. And just so I throw it all out there, right? I started as a guy who tuned radios for the Army. And by the time I ended, I could build a satellite system from scratch with wires and tinfoil like MacGyver, or frame a house or roof a house, because when you go out in special teams and small remote locations, you are it. There's no other support element. So I had to learn how to do military logistics. I had to learn how to do IT support because I was the one IT person. So I take all these skills that I've gained and I mesh them together to be successful with the horses. So now I know how to do the logistics behind the horses. I know how to operate a business and be in command and control. I know how to set up IT and do the backbone. I also know how to do marketing and media because I was in psychological operations. And so I'm going to use all these tools to be able to reach out and get and try to capture all of those that may feel like they've been left behind, so that I never leave my fallen comrade. And as many of them as I can reach out and get in touch with, I want to push and give all that I have. I want to never quit, and I want to make this my sole mission, is to be able to get out there and accomplish getting everybody the help and quality and the time and the peace that they deserve upon separation from the military. Or I also like to throw in the first responders, because we're not the only ones who get shot at in the line of duty, that have to see horrific things day in and day out as we respond to stuff. So everybody who's in that type of environment needs this kind of release, and I would like to be able to give that to them. And so I use all of these skills that were given to me, and thank goodness I was a generalist who could just, okay, I see kind of how to do that, let me figure it out, okay, I got it, let's do that, right? And push through. And it's helped me take something that was very beneficial and I'm passionate about, and hopefully I can help share it with as many people as possible.
Amazing, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you. Kegan, same question to you. How the skills that you identified, that adaptability, how have you meshed that into your, and you touched on it a little bit, but how do you mesh that into your passion that then is going to drive your innovation in a minute or less?
Yeah, so I think this kind of a central theme among all of us here is some sort of service to others. My time in the Marine Corps, I got out as a sergeant, and I was good at my job, fixing aircraft and whatnot. But my favorite part of it was that mentor-mentee relationship. I loved getting new Marines and showing them the ropes and showing them that this is a good place. There's potential, you have potential, and you can progress here. You just need to find it. And now going into teaching, teaching children, that same structure is still there. These are just my little Marines. And it's great. And I really think that being able to see that growth, that personal growth, and that, excitement to do what they're doing is really what's driving me. And that comes from this structure that I learned in the military. Teaching others what they're capable of and watching them blossom is really what is driving me. That structure in the Marine Corps just all branches, in the military in general, is completely necessary because you're on your way out eventually. And someone has to be there to fill that role and to take on that responsibility. So you're always training, you're always leading. And even outside of the military, I still feel that same drive to help others. So I would say that relationship and that structure of mentorship is really what continues to drive me in this. And seeing it in skateboarding, seeing it in education, it's all great. So I think that's the spark there for myself.
That's excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Kegan. All right, let's go take another audience question. This one is to the whole panel. So whoever wants to answer it. What advice would you give a student planning to pursue a career in the military after college? Stephen. Sorry, go ahead. Or no, you took yourself off mute, and then so I just called your name. So sorry.
Yeah. So there's two parts to the oath, both for officers and enlisted, that I find to be the basis for what the job in the military is, right? And that's to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and obey the officers appointed over you, to include the President of the United States, right? So those two things are the basic driver. The advice I would give you is your job is to do that, and anything else is extra. Anything else is a benefit to you professionally or personally. So when you're going to join a career, especially in the Army, we have what's called the second career development. So the first career you get might not be the prime one that you wanted, or what I see happen most throughout my 12 years was you join thinking that this career field is one thing, and you get there and you're like, man, this is not what I thought it was at all. But that person over there is doing the one thing I wanted to do. So if you can get through that first term, that first period of your career, there's an opportunity for a second career. And that second career can be a change. If you're an officer, change to the branch, you can go from signal to intelligence to whatever, to do that job that you wanted to do. Or as enlisted, you can re-enlist into a new career field and get a new skill set and advance on. The other thing that I always like to tell people, and this will be twofold. One is volunteer. Raise your hand and say, hey, I want to go do things. One of the things that I learned early on, I was at airborne school. I just graduated my A school. I'm down in Fort Benning, Georgia. That's where sniper school is. They come out in the morning when you're waiting to learn how to jump out of parachutes, and they say, we need 2 volunteers to go do a duty. And I raised my hand, and I got to go shoot a Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle to spend the extra ammo that the class hadn't used. And then I had to clean it all up and clean the weapon and put it away. But I got that opportunity because I raised my hand first, because that was the first opportunity. The other 58 people that didn't raise their hand, They had to go clean out the shoot shed that hadn't been touched in 6 months and was full of snakes and spiders and all sorts of stuff. So, hey, get in there, volunteer, because that's going to get you into those opportunities that most people don't get to see. Understand that your career is in your hands. So pursue opportunities, keep growing. And like I talked about before, the generalist idea, go out in the community and volunteer. How I learned how to frame and do electrical was I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity. And then I ended up in Afghanistan building my own hut on the side of a mountain to put a radio station in. So get out there, be a part of it. And really, the military has a lot to give you as long as you're giving it what it needs. And all it really ever asks of you is to be at the right place at the right time in the right uniform. It's that easy.
Well, you really summed that up to be super easy. Thank you. Does Kegan or Don, do either of you have anything else you'd like to add to what Stephen just shared in about a minute or so? Because we're going to have to get our closing comments here in a second.
All I was going to say, because a key, let me make sure I'm reading this right. It says to pursue a career in the military after college. I think most of us joined before college. Obviously, I touched a little bit of community college, but that was it. You're in a unique position to become an officer in the military, like a commissioned officer. And that's a different level of leadership, but it's something worth researching. But I would think about what it is, what skill set you want to pursue, and what level of leadership you want to jump right into. Becoming an officer, you have to have a bachelor's degree. So you're in a position to do that already. And there's other things that come with that. I think all of us here were enlisted, which proud to be enlisted. And there is an opportunity to go from enlisted to becoming an officer, which is something to think about. I'll talk to some more veterans personally when you have a little more time, but definitely consider both routes since you have that degree, and don't let anyone talk down to you about becoming an officer.
Well said from the enlisted side. I agree. But there's a lot of beauty to the enlisted side too. So, excellent. Dawn, did you have anything on that?
I don't have anything much to add. I think the important part is just to live the experience, to be present in it, and to, yeah, they always joke around in the military, never to volunteer again, but I'm all for what Stephen said. Volunteer for everything. Volunteer for more schooling opportunities. Even as an officer, you're going to get the opportunity to go to different schools for different specialties. Ask about it. Put the word out before they even offer it to you. Like, make it known that you want to increase your skill set, and you'll definitely have a fun time. It's the fun days and the good days and what you get out of it outweigh everything else. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and live it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, we are getting close to the top of the hour, and I don't want to rush anybody, so I want to be able to let everybody all the panelists offer their final thoughts and reflections that we want to share out with our veteran audience as well as the non-veteran audience. Because as Don, as you pointed out earlier, this is kind of our obligation is to teach and mentor and lead. Yeah, so closing thoughts, since Don, we've finished with, we started with you. Let's, in the very beginning of all this, maybe we'll start with you.
So closing thoughts, I guess, just to share is to don't be afraid to talk to a veteran. We do stand out a lot of times, but we also are super open to sharing our experiences and being there for you if you have any questions. I really think that our skill sets allows us to make a difference in the world. And there's a quote, I don't remember the entire quote, but it does say, like, veterans are the tip of the candle. And I think if we can see that in ourselves, then we can pass that down to others. And it doesn't matter in what field that we go into or what innovation we come up with or what we're looking to solve. Just knowing that we can make a difference in the world helps bring out those skills that we learned so long ago. And we just need to remind other people that they have them too. In the veteran community, remind those people in the non-veteran community that skill set is there, and teach them how to find it, and really make make a difference in the world. I think the world just needs some positivity sometimes, and it's good to have a veteran remind you of that. I think for me, in the next couple of years, I really plan, I do have a program established, a program outline established. So my next major step is funding for the program. And so I'm going to be working under a program, an organization called Veterans Path, and they'll provide the programming outline, and then I'll provide the veterans, the families, the recreational part of it. So just really focusing on everything and not giving up, and not letting anything stop me, knowing that it'll make a difference.
That's excellent. Thank you, Don. Kegan, closing thoughts from you.
I have pretty similar feelings to Don. Honestly, I think I would say, like, as a whole, the skill sets we're talking about, veterans are ready to use them right off the bat. We've used them. We're ready to just get out there and take that initiative. But everyone has that, and I wouldn't let a title necessarily deter you from going out and chasing your passions. Just take that risk and take on that initiative and take on that responsibility. To sum up, I mean, I'm excited to share this with people here and to learn about the other things that are going on with my fellow veterans here. I'd really just like to extend my arm and just really let others here know that there's things I can do to support you guys, just to reach out. If anyone's interested in getting on a skateboard, let me know. I need some skate coaches and some other tutors. So I'm ready for some support. I need some more help. Thanks,
Thank you,
really
Kegan. Thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Yes, and I'm signing up for that. So definitely. Stephen, last words from you, sir.
Yes, sir. So, hey, I named my nonprofit Ripple Ranch because I believe that even the smallest drop of water creates ripple of change across the surface of any body of water. So the little things matter. It's something that I'd forgotten about when I was in the military, right? When we make our bed, when we polish our boots, when our uniform looks great, everybody's like, that's normal. That's the high expectation of standards, when waking up in the morning is a momentous achievement for the day, right? Making your bed, oh man, that's a great thing. I made it to work today, woo, right? These are all momentous achievements that we should celebrate in little victories in our head. And so that's where my Ripple Ranch comes from. But I always think that it goes back to finding my passion, right? And so I tell everyone, veterans and non-veterans included, it's really about, what is your passion? What are you passionate about? What is going to drive you to want to wake up every day with a smile on your face and go engage people? Whether that's, I don't know, esports gaming or riding horses or skateboards, whatever the passion is, helping other people, giving people those high fives, right? I created a program when I was in my undergrad for my speaking class called High Fives and Handshakes. And we just went around and gave high fives and handshakes to random people through campus. You'd be surprised how many times somebody would just randomly cry about how they bombed a midterm, they thought, and would just want to be heard for a second, right? These are all little passionate things that, if that is what drives you to get up and put your pants on in the morning, go outside and see the world, you should really explore it. And how do you marry that passion to the rest of your life so that it drives everything you're doing? So please find that passion if you're out there, and apply it to the rest of your life.
That's excellent. Thank you, Stephen. And thank you, everybody, to the panel. Thank you, ASU, for putting on this week-long celebration. I think it's incredible and so impactful in so many different ways. For those of us who are have already exited the service and continuing in our own way of contributing to our communities, or those who are getting ready to embrace the life of service. So thank you very much to ASU. Thank you so much to all the panels, the panelists, sorry, for taking your time, the time to meet with us, and also to set all of this up and make all of this happen. And then to share your personal journeys and stories with all of us here, and then all the behind the scenes stuff that we've had to do to make this event happen. So very special. Thank you very, very much. And I hope you all have an awesome day. With that, I will hand it off to Lauren. Let's see.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Great discussion. And just wanted to remind people that this is Salute to Service Week month. And the final event will be taking place on Thursday, Movies on the Field at Sun Devil Stadium. And they'll be showing Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. So bring a blanket and sit on the grass and enjoy the film Under the Stars, a great family-friendly event. And you'll have the all the details in the chat. And in case you can't find it, you can just go to Salute to Service ASU and you'll be able to get more information. But here is the link as well. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.